This build is a new build multiplex, about 1,100 square feet per floor across 3 stories plus a basement. That's 4,400 square feet, a much bigger build. We also have a garden suite. It's a 2-bedroom. It's about 450 square feet per floor, so about 900 square feet. And stay tuned. We have an extra bonus level where we've built in a rooftop terrace that we'll show you. This property is located in Dovercourt Village. So we're steps from Geary Avenue. So if you're familiar with Toronto, it's a very trendy neighborhood right now. You have a lot of industrial buildings that are being converted into shops. If you heard of Familia Baldassare, Good Behavior, Blood Brothers Brewing. If you know Ossington and how it is a trendy up and coming neighborhood, that's where Geary Avenue, I feel, is becoming, and it's really close to that. This land actually was a vacant lot. It's about a 22 by 130 foot lot. So it's not the biggest piece of land, but what's interesting is this land here is zoned for 13 meters building height. So that's how we're actually able to sneak in an extra level and utilize that space. Otherwise, right now we're in the structural framing rough-in stage. So the building's been fully framed out. We're able to walk through it. You can see the steel studs here. You can see some of the piping is coming through, but all the guts of the building is really being put together. So it's kind of the behind the scenes before it's getting finished. All right, so we're walking through the main floor right now, and this is a 2-bedroom unit. We could have fit it as a 3-bedroom, but it would have been a tight 3-bedroom, a nice spacious 2-bedroom. So in talking to our client and the type of people that they want to be renting it out, they figured a 2-bedroom unit that's more spacious would be optimal. That's where we come in, is we can fit this option or this option. There's pros and cons to each. As the architects, we allow you to make the most informed decision, and we present you different options. That's really where design comes into play and laying it out. We have a bedroom here. It's fully framed out, 2 bathrooms, kitchen and living through the front. And then you can see these nice big windows. They face the backyard. The basement unit's a little bit different than the main floor. It's a unit on its own level as well. It's actually a 3-bedroom unit instead. In the basement, we're really thinking about optimizing for the number of bedrooms. They didn't need it as spacious. Typically, basement units aren't gonna be as higher end as maybe other upper floors. On the 2nd and 3rd floor, we did a vertical split. So those are actually combined. One is a front unit, and then one is a 2nd and 3rd floor rear unit. And those have been not split identically. We actually made one a 3-bedroom unit and then one a 2-bedroom unit. And the reason for that was because we wanted to have that 3-bedroom unit available, especially in a neighborhood like this where it's more families, more people are looking for larger sized units. So that way we couldn't fit 2 3-bedroom units, but instead we were able to fit 1 and then a smaller 2-bedroom unit. So depending on the lot size, in this case, again, it was a 22 by 130 lot, not the biggest lot out there. We couldn't do such a big building with all 3-bedroom units. We're thinking about ultimately who wants to be living here, and we're optimizing the design towards that. Standing on the 2nd floor, we actually are splitting this vertically. So we have a rear unit that we're standing in here, and then the front is a separate unit. And we have a vertical wall splitting between the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. The reason why we're doing that is so that it just feels like it's a bit more of a townhouse style. So we have an internal staircase. It connects this level, which is the living room and kitchen. And then the upstairs floor on the 3rd floor is where all the bedrooms are. So it really feels almost like a, house or townhouse. You feel like you're not going up as many stairs at once. So it really has a more balanced approach when it comes to design. Often you'll also see units 1 per level, but forces the 3rd floor unit to go up multiple flights of stairs, which isn't as nice. So again, this vertical split approach is a bit more balanced, and I find nicer for the overall unit mix. This front unit is the bigger unit, which we felt made sense because typically the front off the street will probably attract a more premium rent or kind of tenant that would want something like that, easier access. So we made the nicest unit the front unit. You can see that the sidewalls are steel, but then the front and the rear wall are wood. You might be asking, why not just make the entire build wood? We would default to that typically, all wood construction, but because of the proximity of the building to the property lines, we are forced to make this steel construction or non-combustible construction to meet the building code requirements. And on the other side, if we pulled in the building to avoid it from being steel, and make it wood construction, then we'd have a very narrow building as a result. So I guess in talking about the scenarios, we kind of weigh cost, but also in terms of the design, how do we maximize your building? And in this case, we opted for maximizing the building because it is a narrow lot. So we're standing here on the 4th level. Officially, it's a mezzanine. It's not an official 4th story when it comes to building code definition. That's important because in order for us to keep under a certain classification of building, then we need to be a 3-story building. A 4th-story building is actually a building that requires sprinklers, fire alarms, extra building requirements, an elevator. So we don't want that additional requirement because it increases what we need to do in the building. But we're able to sneak this extra level, great space for a desk, a little hangout space, and a lot of great features when it comes to bringing in natural light. So the stairwell has a skylight right above. It'll act like a light well, bringing in really good light in an otherwise kind of dark rear unit. And lastly, it has a door that brings you to the rooftop, and we're building out a rooftop deck. This will be one of the highest buildings within the neighborhood. It's zoned for 13 meters. So we're able to sneak in this extra level, and we're gonna build out a deck, some fencing, and each unit will have its own full wraparound roof terrace. So an incredible space in Toronto. You don't often get your own private deck and outdoor space like that. And you can see the entire neighborhood, beautiful space in the summer. It's gonna be great. One of the main design things thinking about the 4+1 here was the size of the main building versus the size of the garden suite. We opted to maximize the main building, but still leave space for the garden suite. In this case, we only have 4 meters between the 2 buildings, which allows for a 1-story garden suite. But one of the tricks to add more space was doing a full basement. So we actually have an elevated ground floor and then a basement that has a couple bedrooms in it. So we're still able to fit 2 bedrooms into this garden suite, even though it's a 1-story. Doing these little tricks like elevating the ground floor, maximizing the height, and then doing a full basement allowed us to still achieve like a good size unit, even though it's like a smaller garden suite. Walking in, you come up a couple stairs, so the ground floor is elevated, and this is where the kitchen and living room is. A lot of the design elements like the windows and the form and the exterior materials will match the main building, so it kind of has that continuity. There's going to be a bathroom on this level, and then in the lower level, we have 2 bedrooms and a full bath. Our client really liked the Chicago brownstone walk-up type of building. So that was like the aesthetic that they're going for. Like the front facade's brick. We have full like black windows with like mullions. So it has a more traditional look. And then the upper level has arch windows. So it's bringing about that a bit of more classical brownstone Chicago walk-up building style into it. And that was a bit of like the client was interested in that aesthetic, and we were tailoring a design that they were looking for. So that's part of our services, right? We do full floor plan design, elevations, 3D design, including rendering. So you really get a feel for what the building will be at the end of the day.